at some group of people. So we're going to be discussing something so important for our country, for our economy, and for getting us all working again and working well again. It's a tax reform that I think will make America strong and great again. Too few Americans are working, too many jobs are being shipped overseas, and too many middle-income families cannot make ends meet. This plan directly meets these challenges and the challenges also of business. It will provide major tax relief for middle income and for most other Americans. There will be a major tax reduction. It'll simplify the tax code. It'll grow the American economy at a level that it hasn't seen for decades. And all of this does not add to our debt or our deficit, but I'll also be discussing some of that at the end, because we have to make much better deals, we have to negotiate much harder, and we've got to make our economy strong. Changes for individuals will be at levels that you haven't seen in a long time. We're going to cut the individual rates from 7 brackets to 4. Simplification. 25%, 20%, 10%, and 0. If you're single and earn less than $25,000 per year, or married and jointly earn less than $50,000. So, very important. If you're single and earn less than $25,000, or married and jointly earn less than $50,000, you'll not pay any income tax, nothing. This eliminates very strongly and quickly the marriage penalty, very unfair penalty. It eliminates the AMT, which is the alternative minimum tax. It ends the death tax. It's a double taxation. A lot of families go through hell over the death tax. It reduces or eliminates most of the deductions and loopholes available to special interests and to the very rich. In other words, it's going to cost me a fortune, which is actually true, while preserving charitable giving and mortgage interest deductions, very importantly. It ends the current tax treatment of carried interest. Those are the hedge fund folks that I've been talking about for quite a while. They make a lot of money, carried interest. So it ends the current tax treatment of carried interest for speculative partnerships that do not grow businesses or create jobs and are not risking their own capital. Changes for business. Now, so important, because it's all about business, it's all about jobs. We have 93 million people in this country that are in serious trouble, that want to work, they can't work. So for business, no business of any size, from a Fortune 500 company to a mom and pop shop to a freelancer living from gig to gig, will pay more than 15% of their business income in taxes. Big reduction. A one-time deemed repatriation of corporate cash held overseas at significantly discount, which coming back at a significantly discount, 10%. So it comes back discounted at a 10% tax rate and ends the deferral of taxes on corporate income earned abroad. Now, it's called corporate inversion. It's a huge subject. I've been watching politicians now for years. All talk, no action politicians. I've been watching them for years talking about bringing this money back. The number is probably $2.5 trillion. Everybody agrees it should come back. Republicans, Democrats, everybody. They can't make a deal. They don't know how to go about making a deal. The reason companies aren't bringing it back is the tax is onerous. It doesn't make sense to bring it back. And in fact, many companies are leaving the United States. They're leaving our shores to go and collect their money. They're actually moving out of the United States for two reasons. The taxes are too high, and because they have tremendous amounts of money that they can't bring back into this country when everybody wants them to bring it back in. It's called leadership. We will have that money brought back in. As an example, I have millions of dollars overseas. I can't bring it back into this country. We file papers. We've been doing this for a year and a half. You can't get it back in. So the money stays in other countries, and that's what happens. Not good for us. The level of leadership that we need to get things like this done is so important. But this is something, and I've been watching it for a long time, everybody agrees to. We also reduce or eliminate some business loopholes, many of them actually, and deductions made unnecessary or redundant by the new lower tax rate on business income. The tax rate now is so low that a lot of these deductions, which are complicated, which don't make sense, and which are unfair, are gone. And we phase in a reasonable cap on the deductibility of the business interest expense. So we are going to give you, we have a very complex set of papers that actually, if you know business, is not so complex. And we're going to hand them out right now to the press. And I think you'll see we have an amazing code. It will be simple. It will be easy. It will be fair. It's graduated. As you get up in income, you pay a little more. Some of the very unfair deductions that certain people have been given who make a lot of money will not be available any longer. But I actually believe they'll do better because I think the economy will grow. It'll grow rapidly, and we'll have something very special. Now, with all of that being said, and before we take some questions, we have to cut the costs of what's going on in this country. If you look at what we're doing and the money we're spending, I read where a washer, you know what a washer is? Nuts, bolts, and washer. To send from one state to another, it was a 19-cent washer, and it cost $900 and some odd thousand to send it from here to there. And there are many examples. Hammers that cost $800 that you can buy in a store for a tiny amount of money. We will run this country properly. There is so much money to be saved. We're reducing taxes, but at the same time, if I win, if I become president, we will be able to cut so much money and have a better country. We won't be losing anything other than we'll be balancing budgets and getting them where they should be. So this is a plan that's simple, that's a major reduction. I think people are going to be very happy. We've already had some very good reviews. I did the plan with some of the leading scholars and economists and tax experts that there are in this country. They love it. They say, why hasn't this been done before? And this is my wheelhouse. That's what I do well. The economy is what I do well. Whenever they do polls, I always come out way above everybody else on the economy. And on leadership, by the way, but I won't say that. So if anybody has... Wow. Thank you. That's amazing. That's some of the press was actually clapping. I never saw that. I don't think I've ever seen that before. All right, why don't we take some questions from the press? Yes, go ahead. No, I'm not going to do that yet. I have to get their approval. But we have some of the top people in the country worked on this. Well, we're looking at a 3%, but we think it can be 5%. It could even be 6%. We're going to have growth that will be tremendous. And by the way, if we have more than 3%, these numbers are really spectacular. And one of the things that they don't take into account in any big league fashion is the cutting. There is so much waste in government that I believe when I get in there, I'll be able to cut, without losing anything, to cut tremendous amounts off of the, and we're not even showing anything for that. So they're very conservative numbers. Yes, Sarah. Yeah. My taxes will, first of all, I'll have a much simpler tax statement. It'll be much simpler. When I do my return, it'll be my returns go up to the ceiling and beyond, which is ridiculous. And you spend millions high level on lawyers, accountants, and everything else. We want to simplify them to a tremendous level. The bracket of 25, the big difference is many of the loopholes and many of the deductions, which are old, have been there for years, are antiquated in many cases, or are put there because a lot of the people that get these deductions are contributed to Hillary, they're contributing to Bush, they're contributing to every candidate but Trump, because I'm not taking any money, I'm self-funding. And these people want these deductions. There will be people, we're reducing taxes, but believe me, there will be people in the very upper echelons that won't be thrilled with this. We're taking away deductions, and that's one of the reasons we're able to lower it. So yeah, this is actually a tax reduction. A big tax reduction, including for the upper income. I believe that the economy will do so well that even though they won't be getting certain deductions, which aren't fair for them to be getting, that they'll end up doing better. Okay, Jess, go ahead. I just think this is a common sense approach. You know, we could say supply side, you could say there's 15 different names given out for different kinds of reductions or increases. I don't think it's supply side or anything else. I think this is a common sense, well thought out tax proposal that's going to trigger the economy, going to make everybody go back and really want to work. It's going to create tremendous numbers of jobs. One of the other things that I'm coupling this with is if I become president, I'm going to renegotiate our trade deals, because our trade deals are not sustainable by this country. Not sustainable. We cannot continue to let our jobs go to all of the different countries. There's not a country that we negotiate with that doesn't make a better deal. Everybody. We lose money with everything. I'm also going to renegotiate some of our military costs, because we protect South Korea. We protect Germany. We protect some of the wealthiest countries in the world, Saudi Arabia. We protect everybody. We protect everybody. And we don't get reimbursement. We lose on everything. We lose on everything. So we're going to negotiate and renegotiate trade deals, military deals, many other deals that's going to get the cost down for running our country very significantly. I'm not showing a big number in that, but I believe that if I become president, those numbers are going to be massive. As an example, Saudi Arabia, they make $1 billion a day. We protect them. So we need help. We're losing a tremendous amount of money on a yearly basis, and we owe $19 trillion. I used to say 18 for the last 6-7 months. Now it's 19, and it's only going up. Yes, Tom?
This morning, Senator Rubio described your campaign as a freak show. You take a lot of pride in your...
Well, now, Senator, look, Senator Rubio is a lightweight. We understand that. He wouldn't be able to do this. He wouldn't know a trade deal from any other deal. And what certain people are trying to do is they're trying to take, we just went up in the last poll, we went up 2 points in the last poll, and we continue to go up. In the NBC poll, I think we went from 26 to 29. We're going up very strongly in the polls. They don't know what to do about it. I built a great company. You'll see that in 60 Minutes last night. I built a great company. It's a phenomenal company with very little debt, tremendous cash flow. I'm funding my own campaign. Guys like Rubio, I mean, he desperately needs money. Ask the car dealer in Florida. Ask the people that support him. And a guy like Rubio and others, I don't want to single him out. You're singling him out. But they're largely controlled by their donors, the special interests, and frankly, more than anybody else, the lobbyists. I've turned down millions and millions of dollars from lobbyists and special interests because it's not the right thing. It's just not right. And that seems to be resonating very strongly. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I negotiate. It's true, I do. I get bills from people and I negotiate. Oh, is that a bad thing? The country should do that. Yeah, I would. I'd bring that same attitude to the White House. It's true. She said, I have a habit. When you get a bill, you call up and you negotiate. To me, that's a compliment. No, I want to take that thinking to the White House. I would bet you we could save 20. I could even say more, but we could save a tremendous amount. That has to be the attitude our country has. You can't spend millions and millions of dollars on doing something that you can do for $2,000. You know, when you look at costs, we just spent $1 million building a soccer field, okay? A soccer field for our prisoners that happen to be in Guantanamo, okay? I don't like that. What do you need $1 million for? Level out the surface, let them play, if they have to play at all, okay? What do you need to spend $1 million? We just spent, it's a story today, $1 million on a soccer field. How do you spend $1 million doing a soccer field? You have a level piece of land. Throw them a ball, let them play soccer. If they have to play at all, why are they playing soccer is my question. Okay, yes, sir, go ahead. No, it's too long. You don't have time. You're not time. All right, go ahead. Why don't you go ahead? Right. No, not at all. We're lowering taxes, which the Republicans love. And I think one of the reasons I am doing so well in the polls, and one of the reasons I'm doing so well when it comes to the economy in all polls, is that this is the thinking. No, we're lowering taxes very substantially, we're simplifying, and we're getting rid of deductions that are actually obsolete, that certain people want to keep for certain reasons. So no, that's not true. Yes, sir, go ahead. Well, Putin was interviewed and I was interviewed last night. I thought Charlie Rose did an excellent job, but I thought his was a softer interview. Scott Pelley interviewed me. I thought Scott was terrific. I mean, it was a tough interview, but I thought he was very fair. And I thought the piece was very good. Yeah, go ahead. Why is he harder on me than Putin? I would say because Putin is a nicer person than I am. Okay, go ahead. Right, right. It's the worst in 36 years. Okay. Well, it's a good question, and you can connect the dots, but I guess it has been probably since '04, you know, you're talking about 10, 11, 12 years, that people have wanted to bring the money back into the country. And again, it's called corporate inversion, and a lot of times the corporations are moving out and they're going to other countries, taking jobs. And now we have a really big problem because we have serious companies, very large, very prestigious companies, as you know. Obviously, you know something about business, but we have major companies looking to move out of the United States. You know, it used to be they'd move from New York to Florida, they'd move from New Jersey to Texas or whatever. Now they're talking about moving from the United States to Ireland and to England and to other places, to Spain, where they get treated differently and frankly better. And they're doing that for a number of the reasons, but one of the big reasons, as you know, is taxes. One of the other reasons is to get all of this cash that they've built up and they can't get back into our country. And when this money comes back into our country that everybody wants, it's going to be put to work in our country largely. It can go other places, but largely. And I think it'll be an amazing boon. Now, here's the other thing. They think it's $2.5 trillion. I think it's much more than that. I actually think it's going to be more money than that. And boy, if it is, we have hit pay dirt. Yeah, go ahead, real fast. Well, you know, when you end the repatriation, when you get the money coming back in, beyond, tremendous things happen. Sarah, go ahead. Well, I'll be announcing that in the not too distant future. But I will tell you, I've been honest. I'm the only one that's honest about this thing. I watched Romney and I watched, I pay so much tax, I pay so much tax. I watch all politicians and they say, I fight like hell to pay as little as possible. Can I say that? I'm not a politician. I fight like hell, always. Can I say that? I'm not a politician. I fight like hell, always. Because it's an expense. And you know, I'd feel, and I fight. I have the best lawyers and the best accountants, and I fight and I pay. Well, I'll tell you what, in terms of income inequality, we're going to create a lot of jobs. You know, right now, we have a false 5.4, 5.3, 5.6. Every month it's different. It is such a phony number because when people look, and then they give up looking for a job, they're taken off the roll. So the number isn't reflective. I've seen numbers of 24%. I actually saw a number of 42% unemployment. 42%. And it could be because when you're looking for a job and you go around and you look and you look and you fight and you want to work and you want to take care of your family and then you can't get the job, and you know what I'm talking about because you're shaking your head and you can't get the job, essentially for statistical purposes, you are considered employed. So then I read every time it comes out, I hear 5.3% unemployment. That is the biggest joke there is in this country. That number is so false. And you know, people ask, how come Trump is doing so well and Carson and others? How come they're doing? You know why they're doing well? Because people are tired of political speak. They're tired of that. And the worst example of it, one of the worst example of it, is the phony unemployment rate. The unemployment rate is probably 20%. But I will tell you, you have some great economists that will tell you it's 30, 32, and the highest I've heard so far is 42%. There's anger out there at the job picture. Now, one other thing. With that being said, China, Japan, Mexico, Brazil, these countries are all taking our jobs like we're a bunch of babies. That will stop. People will treat us fairly if I become president. We are losing our jobs, we're losing our base, we're losing our manufacturing. All of that will stop. Yeah, go ahead. Well, this is number one, it's simplification. Number two, what I'm really doing is the big picture, because corporations now are going to start having an incentive to create jobs. They're going to have an incentive also to stay in this country. They're going to spend, well, if they provide bigger dividends, people are going to have more money to spend. So that's not so bad either. If a corporation gives out a bigger dividend, that's great. Mr. Jones gets a bigger dividend, he's going to have more money to spend in the economy. So that's good. Yes, ma'am. Should Chris Christie what? I know nothing about that. Yeah, go ahead. No, I'm not a populist. No, I'm not. I'm a man of great common sense. I'm a man that's built a tremendous company with the best locations in real estate, the best everything. You're here at one of them. I have many of these. A great job. I've employed tens of thousands of people. I employ now thousands and thousands of people. I've done a good job, but I wouldn't say populist at all. I would say I'm a man of common sense. I'm cutting taxes. I'm going to create a lot of jobs. I'm going to get rid of a tremendous amount of waste. And I'll tell you what, the waste that I get rid of, is going to have a huge impact. And I'm not even putting that in my numbers. So I think it's going to be terrific. All right, how about one more question? Go ahead. Yes, the motor industry. That's a beautiful way of describing it. The motor industry. Where are you from? England. I love oh, what a beautiful accent. No, I want to get the industry, we call it the automobile industry, but I want to get the automobile industry to build factories here. As you know, Ford is building a $2.5 billion factory in Mexico. Mexico also took a big plant out of Tennessee, and Tennessee thought they were going to get it, and they didn't. I want the motor companies, as you would say, or the automobile companies, to build their plants in the United States. I don't want Nabisco leaving for Mexico or any place else. I want these companies not to leave Chicago, not to leave Michigan, not to leave New Hampshire and Iowa and South Carolina and all of these places where they're leaving and they're going to other countries. I want them to stay here, and they will stay here, and they'll be so happy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. It's been a great honor. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.